Hey, you folks. I'm Alan. Today is Tuesday, April 2026, Davao, Philippines. If you know me, welcome back. If you don't, settle in. Today is a more technical video, so if you aren't interested in QA and the AI or in the current state of AI, go ahead and move along. It's a big internet. I'm confident you'll find something you like. For those of you who are still here, all right, here are a couple of hot takes and my QA thoughts in an AI world. So right out of the gate, AI planning, and the more I see it, the more I see folks who are involved in it, and the way specs and recs are being written out. A lot of AI planning just strikes me as being a sexy rebranding of waterfall. It's an obsolete, broken methodology. And to me, it can be a little frustrating, wondering why companies continue to rubber band back to an obsolete, broken methodology. So I sat down and gave it more thought than probably I should have. There are probably better ways I could have spent that time. But it annoyed me enough that I just kind of sat down and thought about it for a bit. And at the end of the day, my best bad idea about why companies continue to do this, continue to revert back to waterfall, is that it's about control. As I've said before, uncertainty is expensive. Now, what a lot of folks don't know, so this may be news to you, is that companies have what's called a fiduciary duty to make a profit. They are legally obligated to not just make money, but to generate a profit. So, one of the ways they try to solve for this, one of the ways they obviously, what history shows us they try to solve, how they try to solve for this, is they wind up, it leads them to this pursuit, this unfortunate and toxic pursuit for control, which in turn does nothing but degrade innovation. And in the long term, what does that mean? It means they wind up losing money. And you would think that people would learn, but we've gone through waterfall, we've gone through agile, we've gotten into scrum, and what we almost, for me anyways, whenever I walk into an environment that says they're doing agile, what it usually winds up being is agile for the sake of waterfall. Just companies keep reverting back to this broken methodology, and it's really, really unfortunate. I'm sure I will probably get a little bit of pushback on that. I feel like I've said that a few times, and there's like nobody's talking, but I'd be happy to be wrong about this. But everything I'm seeing with how people are being they're saying they're having to really be meticulous about telling the AI where to go and what to do and what the specs are. Folks, this just looks like Big Bang Waterfall, where they're putting together one big, enormous feature set for an application, telling the AI to run it, and then waiting on the other end of the AI conveyor belt with their hands out for the pretty package they're waiting to be delivered into their hands. That's waterfall. That's hot take one. I suppose the second item here on my list is less of a hot take, but security issues are, as expected, continuing to come up. We just had that massive data leak by Lovable. I'll leave a link in the description, and we're going to keep seeing problems like this. I continue to believe that security professionals cybersecurity is they're going to be very busy people. And they're gonna probably, if they aren't already, they will have to get better at debugging AI generated code. I don't think code generation from AI, it strikes me as a bullet that you can't unfire at this point. Folks are going to keep using it, and they're going to keep trying to deploy it out there for other people to use so they can make money, and I get it. All of us have a side hustle at this point. I mean, here I am on the internet. But, I mean, we're at a point where Apple won't even if they suspect that your app is AI generated, they won't let you push it up to their app store. You know, we're going to keep seeing these security exploits with AI generated code. And so a whole lot of people are going to be relearning or freshly learning about very expensive mistakes that we have already solved in the past. This is going to be a very painful revisit for folks regarding why things are complex, why software development is layered, much like a Renaissance painting. Software is in layers, man, and the more layers you add to it, the greater the complexity. And each layer of that software development can potentially expose an attack surface, a vulnerability that can be exploited. And so they have to be deployed, they have to be crafted with some care. Right now, that care is not being taken. That architecting is not being pursued with the rigor that is needed, and we're seeing the results. Yeah, and that's too bad. Now, what this does reveal is that human supervision is obviously still very needed in software development. And that leads to my next point, and that's AI fatigue. This is a very real thing. And again, this is something management continues to do, and they need to get a little distance from the AI hype and remember that they're dealing with people, and that people have a limited bandwidth. All right. You can't just throw a bunch of extra AI-generated code slop at a human and say, here's more code. I want you to 10x this, and then expect people to not burn out. All right. When you make yesterday's miracle into today's expectation, you burn people out. And that's the situation we're in right now with AI-generated code. Here's this miraculous genie in a bottle. It generated all this code. You can just read it, right? Reading the code's easier than writing it. No. Anybody who tells you that has not written code. They most certainly haven't done any programming in a professional sense. Reading code is harder than writing code is. Debugging code is harder than writing code is. So this nonsense idea that if the AI just generates the code and then the human needs to supervise it and then read through it and make sure that it's all working, the idea that this is easier is ridiculous, just on its face. My hot takes. All right. As far as what I'm seeing job-wise, and I need to break this down between experienced professionals and new professionals. So for experienced professionals, folks, I'm seeing an uptick in QA for jobs. When my role was first dissolved, let's say, back in November of 2024, I probably put in at least 400 to 500 job applications over the span of, I don't know, 6 months. I'd give it around 100 applications a month. Nobody was biting. Just nobody was replying. I think I might have gotten 2 interviews out of that. One ghosted me, and the other one came back with a rejection. I don't think I got past like the second round. And now, like, I have recruiters lighting up my inbox asking for my availability. Now, again, speaking to the experienced professionals here, because I've been in this since like October of '06. So it's not quite 20 years, but it's close. So for those of us who are experienced hands in the QA space, I think this is good news. And it's because what I thought, what a lot of us thought was going to happen, it is happening. Development is hitting an AI plateau with these tools. They're discovering that, oh, hey, it's more code being generated is coming in with a higher frequency of bugs. And that's deeply unfortunate. And that means a greater demand for QA, which for us is great. I imagine people who are watching their budgets might be a little upset about that. And what it's also showing me is that how the software industry is choosing to use AI right now is just, it's not scalable over time. Maintenance is problematic. Deployment is going to be problematic. A higher frequency bug count tells me everything I need to know about how well AI is doing when it comes to developing code purely on its own. Again, I brought this up before, the scalability is really the issue here. For new professionals, I have less good news. So the companies to look for are going to be the companies who have a more forward eye on where they're going. It's for those of you who are looking at jumping into a more contractor gig economy situation, I don't know if that's going to work out to your benefit. From what I'm seeing with contracts, with platforms like Toptal, and be advised, I am on the Toptal platform, so I don't technically work for them, but they find contracts and gigs for me. I can throw a link down below if you folks are interested. But clients, from a contracting perspective, are looking for someone who's experienced with the platform or with the tech stack. They have a really specific tools that they're already have set up that they either need you to know or need you to be able to acclimate to extremely quickly. And if you don't have experience with that tech stack, they're gonna find somebody who does. And there's so many software developers out there looking for jobs right now that it's extremely competitive. All right. So where I feel like the gig economy and contracting and subcontracting was kind of the venue for new professionals, I don't see that being the case any longer. You're looking for more established places. Like, I would look at banks. I would look at places where their slop is not something, code-generated slop is not something that they can risk, right? So you're looking at software development for healthcare, things that keep people alive. Department of Defense stuff, because I promise you they are not using AI-generated slop code to run to run battleships. That's not happening. Or weapons systems. That's just not happening. So look for the companies, look for the industries where the risk is greater if a problem arises, and that's where you should find job opportunities. You're looking again for places that are looking more towards the future. Now, okay, why? As I said before, one of the reasons is risk. They need that risk mitigated, which means they need human eyes on the code that's being generated. Okay, that's thing one. Thing two. One of the problems, I was going to say the problem, but one of the problems with trying to use AI to generate code or relying on it is that it compounds the brain drain that is coming to the U.S. It compounds this issue. Now, there's two reasons for that brain drain. One is the policies of the current administration is driving people out of the U.S. Like some really smart and experienced folks are voting with their feet. They're leaving the U.S. The other cause of the brain drain is what some folks refer to as the silver tsunami. What is that, you might ask? That's knowledge workers aging out. That's baby boomers and older Gen X's aging out and taking their knowledge with them. And when they do that, if a company has not been growing its junior developers, then it will have no one to replace those knowledge workers. No one. So again, more forward-looking businesses are where new professionals, like it would be my first stop. It'd be my first look. Because they have the breadth of scope. They have the grasp of longer term strategy that lends itself to that understanding that if they don't start developing people, then they're not going to have the skill sets and the talent available to them to continue to be successful. Yeah. That's my best bad advice, folks. As always, take care of yourselves, be good to yourselves, and stay safe out there. It's a crazy goddamn world, and it's only getting nuttier by the day. Till next time.